a good. So for today, we'll be doing our grade 5 English lesson on perfect verb tenses. So perfect verb tenses. And before we start with our lesson, we are going to log into aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged into aplusstudents.ca with your username as well as your password, and then you're going to select the subject of language arts, grade 5. All right, so once you've selected the subject of language arts, then grade 5, and then you're going to scroll down up until you get to the chapter of perfect verb tenses. All right, so perfect verb tenses, that's our chapter, right? And the lessons that we're going to be focusing on under the chapter of perfect verb tenses. So firstly, we are doing the chapter of perfect verb tenses. Our subject is English language arts, grade 5. And in the lessons is to use the perfect verb tenses and to choose between the past tense and the past participle. And our tutorial lessons is on aplusstudents.ca. So if you want to go back, recap, right, you can go to aplusstudents.ca. Our chapter is perfect verb tenses. The subject is English language arts, grade 5, and our lessons is also presented over there. All right. So basically, perfect verb tenses, right? Whenever we hear verb tenses or we hear tenses, and then we know it is either in the present or in the past, right? Or even in the future. But in this case, we're only focusing on the perfect verb tenses, meaning that it is either past tense, past participle, or now, right? So perfect verb tense, it usually describes completed action. So it basically describes completed action. And it tells about something that has, had, or will have happened. And present perfect the present perfect verb tense tells about something that has happened or has started. And it uses the helping verb has or have. So once again, the perfect verb tense, it usually describes completed action, and it tells about something that has happened, had happened or will have happened. And the present perfect tense, which is now, it tells us about something that has happened or has started already, right? So it describes completed action. And it uses the helping verb which is has, or the helping verb which is have, has or have. For example, the airplane has arrived at the gate already. Has arrived at the gate already. So the airplane has arrived at the gate already, right? And that refers to basically one person or one thing or one animal or one place. So basically it shows one thing that has arrived at the gate already. John and Erica, referring to more than one, they have played the violin for 5 years. So John and Erica have played the violin for 5 years. And that is the present perfect tense, right? That is two examples of the present perfect tense and where it uses the helping verb has or have. And it tells us about something that has started or has happened already. Then we have the past perfect tense. This is now in the past. The past perfect tense. And it tells us about something that had happened before something else had happened. It is done. It is in the past. It is past now. And the past perfect tense, it uses the helping verb had. For example, we had finished dinner by the time Tim arrived. We had finished dinner by the time Tim arrived. And that is the past perfect tense. And it tells us about something that had happened before something else. And it uses the helping verb, which is had. And then we have the future perfect tense. Future, meaning it did not start yet. So the future perfect tense tells about something that will have happened by a certain point in the future. It will have happened in the future. Not now, not in the past, in the future. And with the future perfect tense, right, it uses the helping verb will have. Will have something to show that it is in the future. For example, the race will have started by noon tomorrow. So it's basically showing a completed action in the future. So it did not start yet, but the way we write it to the way we say it, it sounds as if the action is already completed, but in the future. The action has completed in the past, has completed, or in the present. So the race will have started by noon tomorrow. It's not noon yet, it's not tomorrow yet. All right. So that is a description as well as a few examples on using the perfect verb tense. All right, so now we're going to a plus students.ca. So now we're going to the A plus website. So we're going to a plus students.ca. All right, so we are doing the chapter of perfect verb tenses, and the first lesson is to use the perfect verb tenses. And once again, we're going to go over the description as well as the examples, and then we're going to do an activity example before our test. So we said that perfect verb tenses or perfect tenses, it usually describes completed actions. So completed actions in the present, in the past, and in the future. And it tells about something that has, had, or will have happened. And that is why I'm saying it has, had, or will have happened either in the present, which is now, in the past, or in the future. And we say that the present perfect tense, it tells about something that has happened or it has started already. And with the present perfect tense, we use the helping verbs such as has or have. Has referring to one person, animal, place, or thing that is doing the action. And using have when we are referring to more than one person, animal, place, or thing that's doing the action. Then we have the past perfect tense, which tells about something that had happened before something else. And this is in the past. And we use the helping verb had. So we use the helping verb had. And then we have the future perfect tense, which tells about something that will have happened at a certain point in the future. And it uses the helping verb will have. All right. So now if we go on to our little activity, it says we need to complete the sentence with the correct helping verb or the helping verbs. It says Frank claimed that he spotted the Loch Ness monster, but we didn't believe him. So we need to now say if he had spotted, if he have spotted, if he will have spotted the monster, but we didn't believe him. All right, so basically this refers to it being in the past, right? So if it's referring to it being in the past, then we can say Frank claimed that he had spotted. So had spotted, let me put had rather there, had spotted the Loch Ness monster, but we didn't believe him. And this shows that it is in the past. Franklin. By the time we noticed that our freezer was broken, this is in the past, all our ice cream, we need to choose a helping verb in the past so we can then say all our ice cream had melted. So had is our helping verb within that sentence. I couldn't remember whether I locked the car, so I ran back to check. So I couldn't remember whether I we need to choose the correct word. So especially since you said I ran back, which means that it is now in the, we can basically say in the past. So I couldn't remember whether I had locked the car. Whether I had locked the car. So had is our helping verb within that sentence. And that shows the past perfect tense, which is had. All right, let's go into a test. We're not going to have to choose the helping verb or helping verbs to complete the sentence, right? By the end of this week of camp, so by the end of this week of camp, Vivian has learned how to ride a horse or will have learned how to ride a horse by the end of this week of camp, meaning it is not the end yet. So by the end of this week of camp, Vivian, do we say Vivian has learned how to ride a horse or will have learned how to ride a horse? We need to choose the correct helping verb to complete the sentence. All right, so if we choose the correct helping verb, right, especially since if we look at the first part of the sentence, it says by the end of this week of camp, meaning that it is not at the end of the week yet. So, which means that this is the future that they are talking about. So, in the future, Vivian, do we say Vivian has learned how to ride a horse or Vivian will have learned how to ride a horse? So, if it's in the future, and then we can say she will have learned how to ride a horse. And will have, it shows that it's in the future, right? So by the time it gets to the end of the week, it's not the end of the week yet, but once it gets to the end of the week, she will have learned how to ride a horse. So will have. So dad, do we say dad will have finished carving the turkey and it looks delicious? Or dad has finished carving the turkey and it looks delicious? We need to choose the correct one. So dad finished. Do we say dad will have finished carving the turkey and it looks delicious? Or dad has finished carving the turkey and it looks delicious? We need to choose the correct helping verb to complete the sentence. And if we choose the correct helping verb, then we can say dad has. Let's choose has finished. So well done. Has is correct. So well done. So we need to complete the sentence with the correct helping verb. Danelle never responded to my text message because she will have misplaced her phone the day before, meaning it's in the past, or she had misplaced her phone the day before. So Danelle never responded to my text messages because she misplaced her phone the day before. So she will have misplaced her phone the day before, or she had misplaced her phone the day before. This is now in the past because the day before gives us an indication that it's in the past. So is it option one or option two? She will have misplaced the phone, or she had misplaced her phone the day before. We need to choose the correct helping verb. So Danelle never responded to my text message because she will have misplaced her phone the day before, or she had misplaced her phone the day before. All right, so if we choose the correct helping verb now to complete the sentence, specifically in the past, then we will say she had misplaced her phone the day before. Because the day before shows the past. So well done. Had is correct. Had is correct. I had thought we were out of milk, but then I found a new carton in the refrigerator. Or I will have thought we were out of milk, but then I found a new carton in the refrigerator. We need to choose the helping verb. It's either had or will have. Had or will have. So I had thought we were out of milk, or I will have thought we were out of milk, but then I found a new carton in the refrigerator. Had or will have. Had or will have. All right, so if we choose the correct helping verb within the sentence or to complete the sentence, and then we will say, I had thought we were out of milk. I had thought we were out of milk, but then I found a new carton in the refrigerator. So I had. So had is correct. Had is correct. So well done. Good job. I thought I had heard someone call my name, or I thought I have heard someone call my name, but when I turned around, no one was there. So we need to choose either had or have. So I thought I had heard someone call my name, but then I turned around, no one was there. Or I thought I have heard someone call my name, but when I turned around, no one was there. So had or have. We need to, choose the correct helping verb to complete the sentence. And this is in the past. So in the past, is it had or is it have? All right, so if we choose the correct helping verb within that sentence or to complete the sentence, and then we will say, I thought I had heard someone call my name, but when I turned around, no one was there. So had is correct. Well done. Had is correct. All right, let's do one more. Before her compass broke, before her compass broke, Gabby had brought it on every one, brought it on every one of her sailing trips, or before her compass broke, Gabby has brought it on every one of her sailing trips. So we either need to choose had or has. So before her compass broke, Gabby had brought it on every one of her sailing trips or has brought it on every one of her sailing trips. All right, and this basically shows the past. And if we choose the correct helping verb to complete the sentence, we will say had. So had brought it on every one of her sailing trips. So well done. Great job. All right. Sorry. Now we're going to choose between the past tense and past participle. So we're going to choose between the past tense, which happened in the past, and the past participle, right? And the past tense, it usually tells about something that has, had, or will have happened. Sorry, the perfect tense. So the perfect tense, it usually tells us about something that has, had, or will have happened. And remember, we said that is either in the present, past, or future tense, right? And it uses the form of helping verb to have with the past participle of a verb. To have. So when it comes to the past participle, right? So the past participle of a verb, it usually is usually the same as the past tense form. So the past participle of a verb is usually the same as the past tense form of the verb. But it's not always, right? Usually, but not always. Because some verbs, they have irregular past participles. And you know, when it comes to irregular past participles, and then it's just something that you're going to have to remember because there's no rules that you can follow in order to be like, okay, I need to do this, that, and the other, or I need to use have, has, or will have. So you're just going to have to remember it. And an example is Toby had seen that movie. Or I have run a marathon. I have. So Toby had seen that movie and I have run a marathon. The tree has grown taller and Clay will have eaten dinner. So that is about a few examples of either the past, present, or future. But that is the past participle, right? And we see the past participle of a verb, it is usually the same as the past tense form, but not always. And some of the verbs, they have irregular past participles. They have irregular past participles. You're just going to have to remember it. And then we have the past tense. So we have the past tense. And the past tense, it does not use the helping verb to have. It does not use the helping verb to have. It usually or it uses the past tense form of the verb. For example, Toby saw that movie. So I see the movie, but Toby saw that movie in the past. So see being a present, being in the present tense, and saw being in the past tense. I ran a marathon. So run is something that we are doing now in the present, but in the past tense, I ran a marathon. The tree grew taller, meaning that in the present it is grow. So grow. And then Claire ate dinner. Claire ate dinner. And our present form is eat, and our past form is ate. So that is basically the present tense form of the verb. It does not use the helping verb to have. All right, so now we're going to do a few activities and then we're going to our test. So I red and blue mask for Halloween or Halloween. So we need to complete the sentence with the correct form of verb. And if we choose the correct form of verb, then we can say, I chose a red and blue mask for Halloween. I chose. Let me write it properly. So I chose. Let me make it write it nicer. So I chose a red and blue mask for Halloween. So chose is correct. I don't think Martha has. Yes, or it is not chosen, right? So we can't say that I. Let me just go back. So we can't say that I chosen a red and blue mask because chosen is not the correct form, right? So chosen is not correct. So it's I chose because it is just the past tense, right? So not chosen. All right. I don't think Martha has that beautiful dress before. We need to choose between wore or worn. So I don't think Martha has wore that dress before or that Martha has worn that dress before. We need to choose one of these words to complete the sentence. So I don't think that Martha has wore or worn the dress before. So we need to choose one of that two words to complete our sentence. So I don't think Martha has wore that dress before, or I don't think Martha has worn that dress before. And if we choose the correct word, then we will say, I don't think Martha has worn that dress before. Worn that dress before. Because wore is she had already wear it. We don't get the word weared, but she already wore the dress. But worn, she hasn't worn it. The water in my cat's outdoor water bowl, do we say it froze overnight or it frozen overnight? We need to choose one of these correct words to complete the sentence with the correct form of the verb. So my cat, the water in my cat's outdoor water bowl, do we say it froze overnight or it frozen overnight? Froze or frozen overnight? All right. So if we choose the correct one, then we will say, remember the water in my cat's outdoor water bowl, it what overnight? Remember, if we use the word frozen, then we can make mention that it is frozen, right? But now, if I'm saying that the water in my cat's outdoor water bowl, what happened during the night? Do we say that it frozen overnight or it froze overnight? So we basically say it froze overnight. So which means that if you look at the frozen bowl now, then you say it is frozen, right? Or I freeze something, when I take it out, it is frozen. So the water in my cat's water bowl, we can say it froze overnight. Now it is frozen. So which means that we need to choose this word, which is froze overnight, right? So not frozen. So it froze overnight. It's almost like saying it freeze overnight. So it froze overnight. And now it is frozen. And that is how we make mention of the two words. So we chose froze overnight as our correct answer. All right, so now we're going on to our test. We're going to begin test by choosing between the past tense and the past participle. And we're going to complete the sentence with the correct form of verb. President Clinton, do we say often spoke or spoken about the importance of good education? So President Clinton often spoke or spoken about the importance of a good education. So we need to choose between spoke or spoken. So President Clinton often spoke about the importance of good education, or President Clinton often spoken about the importance of good education. All right, so if we choose the correct form of verb, and then we're going to say that President Clinton, she often spoke about the importance of good education. Spoke. I don't think Martha has wore that beautiful dress, or I don't think Martha has worn that beautiful dress. Which one is the correct answer? Which one is the correct form of verb? So I don't think Martha has wore that beautiful dress before, or I don't think Martha has worn that beautiful dress before. We need to choose the correct form of the verb. All right, so if we choose the correct one, we will say worn. We don't think that Martha has worn that beautiful dress before. Wendy has chose to attend Stanford University in the fall, or Wendy has chosen to attend Stanford University in the fall. So Wendy has chose to attend Stanford University in the fall, or Wendy has chosen to attend Stanford University in the fall. And if we choose the correct one, then yeah, we say has chosen. Because remember, if there's no, usually this word has, this one has, the word has, it will basically motivate the word chosen. So has chosen, right? So we don't say has chosen. So chosen is correct. So well done. Chosen is correct. And in the crowd, we say the crowd groaned until people were spilling out of the door, or the crowd grew until people were spilling out the door. The crowd grow until people were spilling out the door, or the crowd grew until people were spilling out the door. The crowd groaned until people were spilling out the door, or the crowd grew until people were spilling out the door. So if we choose the correct one, we can say the crowd grew, because we either say the crowd has grown, have grown, right? But we just say that the crowd grew until people were spilling out the door. All right, let's do one more. Rona's day began with a big bowl of cereal. Or Rona's day began with a big bowl of cereal. So is it began or begun? So we will say that Rona's day began with a big bowl of cereal. Because remember, if we use begun, then we would say either had begun, have begun, right? So Rona's day began with a big bowl of cereal. All right, so that is basically our lesson on perfect verb tenses, right? And remember, when it comes to tenses, and then we know it is either telling us something about the present, it's making mention of the past, or it is telling us about the future, right? And with perfect verb tenses, it is basically, it describes completed action. So perfect verb tense is complete, or they describe completed action, and it tells you about something that has, which is now, had, which is in the past, and will have happened, which is in the future, right? So, grade 5, that is now the end of our lesson on perfect verb tenses. Thank you very much for joining our class. Thank you very much for interacting, for asking questions, right? And you should have an amazing evening further. Goodbye.